Yo, what's going on, Cowboys fans and fans of the channel? Got a good one for you guys tonight. Oh, there goes my mic. Want to make sure everything's okay. Got a good one for you guys tonight. 32 team mock draft. Now, I don't think anybody watching this mock draft or a fan of the Cowboys, or if you're just a fan of the channel, wants to be watching a mock draft right now. They'd rather be getting for the divisional round of the playoffs, playing big time football. But obviously, we're not there. And obviously, this is the time of the year where teams do get better, teams do grow, teams do put things together. With this mock draft, though, to me, it's a starting point. It's you putting seed down in the winter, you put your water on it, you got your oil, you got your dirt, in your ground, irrigated for it, and then now all you're doing is you're gonna let things grow. We still have a whole process that we have to get through. What's the process? The Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl. You got the combine, which people are going to get a lot of information from the combine. So this is just literally a starting point. Now, I see already one comment, and I'm going to try to do this without stopping because I want to get through all 32 teams. But to me, my goal is just to get the players and the information out really about every player, about as many players as I can. And then I'll come back at the end and ask questions. So, matter of fact, let me answer a few questions. Foots, how do you feel about Neighbors over Marvin Harrison Jr. and Christopher Gillis? How do you feel about Tommy Eichenberg? Well, I will say this. This is part of the title on the video. Then I'm going to jump right into the actual draft. This is part of my title on the video. To be honest with you guys, this receiving class in the 2024 class, I'm talking about Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Emeka Abuka, Lad McConkey can do it from Georgia, Malachi Corley, Jalen Polk. I mean, all those Washington receivers are good. Worthy, Adion Mitchell. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This receivers class might go down as one of the best receiving classes ever to be drafted. And it may play into your team and how you want to draft. You may think that your team needs a tackle. And so just because they're in the first round, they're going to draft a tackle. But I'm telling you now, if there is a run on receiver, your team that may need a tackle may draft a receiver because the receiver class is that deep. I'm going to tell you right now. I'll give you an example. Brian Thomas Jr., there isn't that much a difference between him and Rome Odunze. It's all going to be based on scheme, how you use these guys, how you plan to use these guys within your scheme, how you plan to build around these guys. What are you asking them to do? Are you asking them to come in and be a two? You know, with Brian Thomas Jr., I see a lot of T. Higgins. What are you asking these guys to do? So the receiver class is really, really good. I also do like the linebacking class, off ball and edge. It's not that Chase Young class. There's not a Chase Young in this class. There's not a Nick Bosa in this class, but it's pretty close. Like they got some guys. Dallas Turner is a guy, and we'll get to him. So I just think that teams just come in with this first mock with the open mind. Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna get right to it. Like I said, for me, honestly, I looked at this class and I looked at this draft, and I've already done it. I'm just gonna go ahead and make the picks. I've looked at it, and I'm always gonna be BPA. So right now, we don't know if Chicago is gonna move on from Justin Fields. Right now, we don't know if there's anything coming out that Chicago wants Drake May over Caleb Williams. I personally like Drake May over Caleb Williams, but I see why teams would like Caleb Williams. I mean, he's from the DMV. For me, there's a few things that I can do without, and I also don't like that USC scheme because there's literally no pro to it, no pro style to it, and a lot of those USC quarterbacks end up getting to the league and kind of flaming out. really, and now I guess I sound kind of crazy saying that because Baker Mayfield is advancing in the playoff, and Kyler Murray did have a strong end to his year. But we will get started with the Chicago Bears on the clock, and the first 10 I'm really gonna go into detail, and then I'll kind of breeze through the rest. But let's start this draft right here, right now. So with the first pick in the draft, it's kind of widely regarded, especially with the Bears already um, diving in and possibly bringing in Cliff Kingsbury, that they are going to go Caleb Williams. They are going to move on from Justin Fields. To me, I don't know if this would be a mistake. I think that with all these teams, if you don't have a plan with these quarterbacks, you could end up with Bryce Young. And I love Bryce Young, but Bryce Young was ruined this year. Bryce Young didn't have confidence, partly because Frank Reich lost the team. And I don't even know if Frank Reich even had the team at any point. And then their owner, David Tepper, he has no idea what he's doing. So at the end of the day, you draft Caleb Williams, who every year I'm told that there's a generational talent at quarterback, and he's the best to ever do it. And they said it about Trevor Lawrence, and I'll watch Trevor Lawrence play, and I'm like, that one year with him having Urban Meyer as a coach, maybe it did hurt him. But I also do see Trevor Lawrence make a lot of mistakes. And they had a good year with Doug Peterson, but then this year it's kind of been, where's the Trevor Lawrence that everybody said was the best player to ever play football? So you just got to kind of be careful of that. But hey, for my money, the best player in this draft is Marvin Harrison Jr. When we get to that pick, I think what's going to happen throughout the process is people are going to overthink this and things will start coming out of, oh, blah, blah, blah. And let's not do that. Pick number 2, the Washington Commanders are on the clock. They go Drake May. The Washington Commanders had a lot of success with Sam Howell. He actually probably overachieved, but he's probably reached his ceiling. Some of the things that you saw in the NFL with Howell holding on to the ball too long, he actually does get through his progressions, but I think that he thinks he can make every throw, and he's probably a B- to C+ athlete. Well, with Drake May, his whole family plays basketball, big frame, can literally make every throw, has a legit strong arm. I remember watching all that film of him and Josh Downs together. It was like, man, Drake May literally, he can make every throw, window throws. The arm talent jumps off the screen. The athleticism jumps off the screen. And so I think that Drake May will be the pick here. The Commanders can't go into a season selling to this fan base. And, I'm in the DMV area. They can't sell Sam Howell again. To me, it just wouldn't be smart. Now, pick 3. This is interesting because I think that most people would pencil in a quarterback here. And then you have Gerard Mayo come out and say, well, I don't know. And then he comes at the end of his intro. It actually wasn't his intro press conference, but he was talking to a reporter. He said, we're going to make the best pick at the most important position. He has to be talking about quarterback. I don't think that there will be a higher riser throughout the process when everybody's done with the film than Jaden Daniels. I think that Jaden Daniels, he will be the pick for the New England Patriots. Listen, they have to get more modern at quarterback. Mac Jones was a complete disaster. And some of that wasn't Mac Jones' fault. Some of it was coordinator. Some of it was Bill kind of possibly being checked out there in New England. You hear that he's about to get a job in Atlanta, so that's interesting. But Jaden Daniels, to me, if I'm Gerard Mayo, I'm starting with my quarterback. I'm not trying to go get a Russell Wilson or one of these guys off the street. If I'm Gerard Mayo, I'm starting with my quarterback, which now leaves the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. Listen, the Arizona Cardinals had a good, strong finish to their season. I thought them beating Philly the way they did showed me a lot. And I thought that if nothing else, they will be in on Kyler moving forward. And why not give him the best target in the draft? The best, honestly, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player in the draft to me. There are going to be people who come out and say, well, and they'll look at the film and they will find reasons to make Malik Neighbors, even Rome Odunze, or even Keon Coleman. Oh, well, Keon Coleman may do no. Or Malik, no. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player in the draft. His quarterback play was completely awful. Okay. And that's probably why Kyle McCord ended up transferring, because, you're watching the Michigan game and you're watching McCord. I mean, he can't make simple throws. and you're asking yourself, you're hurting this guy. I'm watching games. I'm like, man, McCourt can't put the ball on this dude, and it's literally hurting Marvin Harrison Jr. He didn't get frustrated. He played every game that he could his hardest. I mean, watching that watching that matchup with him and Kalen King over at Penn State was outstanding. But I mean, it was kind of only outstanding for Marvin Harrison Jr. because he completely abused him. So we're gonna go Marvin Harrison Jr. there. The Cardinals get there Larry Fitzgerald for the next 10, 15 years, whatever, however long he wants to play, because the guy's that good. He has NFL pedigree. We all know who his dad was, Hall of Famer. So we aren't gonna overthink that. Pick 5, we are going to go Malik Neighbors. Now, I'm not just following this best available, like, because there are going to be some switch pitches here coming soon, but we are going to go Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is the closest thing that I've watched since Odell Beckham. Now, is he Odell Beckham? Well, it all depends. And trust me, the Giants would have loved to have him at pick 6. I think with Neighbors, and people will say, well, Foots, they just drafted Quentin Johnson. Why would they go? Why would the Chargers go Malik Neighbors? Because again, like I said earlier, and it's the same reason why possibly the Cowboys could go receiver. You don't pass on a talent because you drafted a receiver last year. Keenan Allen's getting older. You want to give Justin Herbert, Kellen Moore as many options as possible. That's just me. That offense struggled at times. Keenan Allen is getting older. I think that a guy like this would come in and spark that offense. He's great after the catch. You're talking about a guy who is extremely, extremely dominant after the catch. So I think that he can make a lot of sense for you there. So I just went, I just went Neighbors, man. Neighbors, listen, Neighbors is going to shock a lot of people throughout the process. Just go watch the film and don't just watch highlights. If you can, try to get your hands on some all 22. Neighbors is, I mean, he's special. Like, he's legit special. So I just went Neighbors. I just think that makes the most sense. All right, so moving right along. Give me a thumbs up if everybody's good. If you want to throw tomatoes at the screen, if you want to cuss me out, make sure you do that. Just try to keep it like PG cuss words, like dang it, Foots. You're a bad person. Don't call me an idiot. And don't really throw tomatoes at the screen. That wouldn't be smart. Moving along to the Giants now. The Giants, to me, as I look at their roster, O-line play is awful, right? They went Darren Waller, made no sense. I actually didn't like it when they went. I didn't like it when they went Darren Waller, and to me, this is a roster that, are they really sold on Daniel Jones? Make no mistake about it. This could be a J.J. McCarthy special, pick 6. And you talk about tomatoes being thrown to the screen. I'll be like, no, you guys just drafted Daniel Jones again. But that's what happens when guys and teams start getting antsy and they start looking at, oh, there's a run on quarterbacks. Because right now there has been a run on quarterbacks. If you look at this draft, if you look at the draft that we got going on, there's 3 quarterbacks in the first 3 picks. These guys can start getting antsy. Am I going to lose this? Am I going to lose that? But they don't. They stay put. And I got a guy who, as good as Joe Alt is, and he makes the most sense here, I'm going to go Olu Fashanu. And the reason why I'm going Fashanu is because I think the upside is a hair bit higher, just a hair bit higher than Joe Alt. Now, Joe Alt is extremely consistent. He probably is right now the best tackle, and I'm actually going to give Joe Alt to the Titans. Isn't that such a Titans pick? The Titans actually could have went receiver there as well. In my first draft, I had them going Roma Dunze, but I think that them going Alt makes a lot of sense. Sure up that left side, but when it comes to Olu and Joe Alt, both are extremely good. I mean, Joe Alt's dad, he kept him at tight end throughout high school until his senior year because he wanted to make sure that his movement stayed good. So, I mean, this is a Notre Dame tackle who is going to be in the league for 10 to 15 years. I just think that when you talk about upside wise, and it could be apples and oranges. It could be Trent Williams and Tyron Smith, both really good players. But I just didn't really want to do the what was expected. I like Olu. And now, mind you, Olu has had his struggles. If you go cut on the Ohio State game, he was not good in that game. but I still do like the upside. And I still do think that if you tell me that Olu Fashanu is going to be there, he's going to get better, he's going to be lean and trimming. When we talk about these pass rushers like Micah Parsons, these guys that can get the edge right now, I think that he'll probably be better at that and blocking those types of guys than I think Alt will for the future. All right, moving right along, the Bears in their second pick in the top 10. So they have to nail this draft, and they are going to go Brock Bowers. Listen, Brock Bowers, I repeat, is not Kyle Pitts. Brock Bowers is not Kyle Pitts. Brock Bowers is a guy who blocks extremely well. Brock Bowers is a guy who catches the ball extremely well. I mean, if you liked Dalton Kincaid, you love Brock Bowers. We see just how many of these young tight ends had impact and made an impact. Brock Bowers is better than all those guys. Brock Bowers would have been the best tight end in last year's draft. That's just how good the player is. I think that you give Caleb, Brock Bowers, you give Caleb, DJ Moore, you're cooking with grease for a long, long time. I really like the fit there. Jess, this is an easy one. Go Rome Odunze. You get him paired up with Garrett Wilson, and you let Aaron Rodgers run it back. I don't think that Saleh would go quarterback here, even though it's a need, maybe somebody that you want to groom for the future. But Saleh, there was rumors he was coaching for his job this year. Okay, but they came out. He's safe. But now you need to get a guy who can help this offense because to his credit, he has had the defense ready, but the offense was just flat out atrocious. Zach Wilson has been a complete bust. I don't think that anybody would argue that. So I just like that pick for them. All right, so now this is where things start to get interesting at pick 11. Okay, and let me get to my positions. Let's get to my position. So there has been a run on quarterbacks. And at pick 11 in the one that I had written down in the draft that I had written down, I went Bo Nix here. Listen, the Vikings can't continue to sell to that fan base. Josh Dobbs, Kirk Cousins will be good. We'll hang in there. But you need to get your quarterback of the future. Now, I think that when these guys get eyes on Bo Nix, and Bo Nix did have his struggles at Auburn, you get him to a nice situation. I know he's about 35 years old. He's definitely an older prospect. But you get him to a nice situation with Kevin O'Connell. Listen, if I'm a rookie quarterback and I'm building my resume with Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison, sign me up. I think that the Vikings would do themselves a favor by drafting the quarterback that they can sit for a year. They can sit him for half a year. And then when he's ready to go, he's ready to go. He is probably the closest prospect to Justin Herbert that I've seen as far as build. His body looks a certain way, and the arm talent is really there. So I went Bo Nix here, and I'm not going to look back. Now, another little mini run on quarterbacks because guess what? With this next pick, I went Michael Penix, man. And I like Michael Penix for Sean Payton because, again, similar situation. To me, he has a similar skill set throwing the ball as Drew Brees. The ball's out on time. Now, he can sit with Sean. Sean has about 2 to 3 years to really turn that thing around. The Russell Wilson fiasco was a disaster. The way that the head coach called, the way that Sean Payton handled Russell Wilson, the way that he handled this offseason was a disaster. But I think that Denver will give him about 2 to 3 years, get his guy in there. Okay. In this case, it will be Penix. They still have decent weapons. Sutton. They have weapons. You get Penix in there, you let him grow, you let him learn. And I think that this offense, if nothing else, maybe halfway through the year, because the AFC West for the foreseeable future is going to be ran by the Chiefs. It just is what it is. As long as Mahomes is in your way. But if nothing else, you can start building this guy up and say, I see some things, and he can mold him the way. That's one thing about Sean Payton. When he got his hands on Drew Brees, you saw a different player. You saw a different quarterback. And I just think that makes the most sense is bringing in a guy like Sean Payton. Pick 13, Oakland Raiders. I went Dallas Turner here. Now, let me give some real love to Dallas Turner. and I got some notes written down. And one of the things that I said about Dallas Turner was this guy is the smoothest mover in the draft. He could play every linebacker position. He could rush off the edge. He's not going to be as fast as Micah, but he can rush off the edge. He can play in the middle of your defense. Go watch the Michigan tape. Just the way that he moves, he is an outstanding defensive player. You pair him with Max Crosby, now he doesn't have to be number one. Now he can just come off the edge. I mean, the bend is exceptional. The hand usage is exceptional. Him, to me, I'll be honest with you, in last year's class, he will probably get drafted higher. But because there are so many quarterbacks and offensive weapons in this class, and I have him over Jared Verse. Now, Latu is different because I actually have their tags touching. But again, oh, you know what? I messed this draft up because I was supposed to give well, you guys know I was supposed to give Penix to Oakland. So I was supposed to give Penix to the Broncos, but I didn't press the draft button. Let me go do that real quick so I can get him out the way. I was supposed to give Penix to let me see where we at. Wait. Oh, you know what? I've been a step early on all of these picks. Who did I have? I had the Jets going. No. Anyway, I made a mistake on one of these. Let me see something. Anyway, you guys get it. It was supposed to be. Who did I have? Let's see who's been paying attention because I'm not even looking at the comments. I know your picks are wrong. I know people are looking at my picks. First, you got Bo Nix with the Jets. I know I messed that up. Who was I supposed to have right there, guys? Man, how did I mess my picks up, y'all? Oh, tomatoes at the screen. It's all good. Let's get back to the to the draft. Yeah, I was supposed to have Penix with the Broncos, and I wanted Bo Nix. No, I had a tackle going to them. That's right. No, I didn't. Who did I just have? Who's been paying attention? Who did I have the Jets grabbing? It was Rome. It was Rome Odunze. No, but then why did it give everybody? You know what? I know what I'm gonna do because I have two simulators pulled up. We're gonna do a draft over here, and we're gonna get all the picks right. Ha ha! You guys won't be able to talk about me. I promise you, you won't. Let's get it. Let's get this draft pulled up over here. Select all. Boom. Let's draft. Boom. You guys won't be able to talk about me at the Pro Football Network now, will you? Oh, all these pop-ups kill me. All right. We went Caleb. Close. Oh, brother. Let's go, Caleb. Then we went Drake. Let's do it. Let's go Drake. May. Then we went. Somebody, why can't y'all help me out? Why y'all not being nice to me today? Let's see. Oh, that's right. I didn't do the Falcons pick. That's where I got messed up at. Thank you. So we went Caleb. We'll keep it right here. I'm the king of curveballs, baby. All right, so we went Caleb. Then we went quarterback here. Let's see. Let's go offense. And then we went quarterback. Then we went Jaden Daniels. And then we went Marvin Harrison. Then I went Malik Neighbors here. Pick 5, then pick 6. Where did I go pick 6? Let's go look at it. Let's go look at my last draft. Hey, one thing about it, when you're going live, you got to always prepare for something goofy. Who did I go? Pick six. Pick six. I went Olu. Okay. Yep. Tags touching for both of these guys. Then I went Joe Walt. Now, okay, that's where I got messed up at the Falcons. And it makes sense because the Falcons are going to take one of my favorite players. Whew. We got that. We sorted out, okay? Can I get a let me go look and see what's going on in the chat. Let me go look at my people, man. We in here on a Friday night. It's all good. Let me go look. All right, here we go. We all make mistakes. No stress. Nah, I ain't gonna worry about it. Can I get a thumbs up? Thumbs up, please. I'm typing in. Thumbs up. And make sure that you guys send this around. Okay. And actually, I can go ahead and actually I can go ahead and answer Jason 88's pick. You are 100% right. After what happened with Kyle Pitts, and Kyle Pitts has actually been a good player. I mean, I think he's been to a Pro Bowl, but there is no way, shape, or form, that the Cowboys would, that the Falcons would take a tight end. There's no way, shape, or form. All right, y'all in here with me. Much love to y'all. We in here. Keep sending them thumbs up. All right, here we go. Let's get back to the simulator. Because it's crazy. I got notes on all of these picks. It's just you just got to pay attention. When you're doing it in real time, it's kind of different. And so with the Falcons, I actually went one of my favorite players in the draft. A guy that can play all over their back end. And that was Cooper DeJean. He could play safety. He could play corner. I know we're going to get the white corner comparisons. This ain't that. This ain't that, and that ain't this. This guy's a stud, complete animal, track background. Will do anything you want. My biggest thing about him is just his tackling. Like people say, well, Foots, why you need your corners to tackle? They need to cover. No, they need to tackle. We saw this weekend in the playoff game. You watching guys run after the catch. You watching running backs run the end zone. You want to get guys to the ground. That stuff matters. So having a guy like that makes a lot of sense. And so then with Chicago's pick, now we're going to go Brock Bowers. Okay. Playing down Chicago, cold weather, big target for Caleb, makes a lot of sense. Now we're going to pair Rome Odunze with Garrett Wilson. Now we get to our two quarterbacks coming off the board. Okay, there we go. Let's go Bo Nix to Minnesota. Now, I just went over a whole speech about Bo Nix, so I'm going to make this quick. Bo Nix will be the heir apparent to Kirk Cousins. They can't sell to that fan base. Josh Dobbs again. Josh Dobbs did beat the Cowboys. He's done a lot of nice things, but Josh Dobbs will be a career backup. Then you come right back and you go Michael Penix Jr. Boom. Now we are back on schedule. Thank you. Now I can go back to gushing about one of my favorite players in the draft is Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner, the way he moves, the hips, the whole nine. The guy's a great, great player, man. I mean, like, I really want you guys to just go watch how many different things that Dallas Turner does do. Dallas Turner, man, I'm telling you, like, the guy, he catches the edge so well. But then another thing, he could play off ball. Like, if he wanted to just be an off ball linebacker, he could 100% be an off ball linebacker. And I think that that's where, if let me tell you something, if Oakland has him and Max Crosby, look out. I'm telling you now, look out. Now, the Saints pick is kind of interesting to me. This is a very deep tackle class. What do they do with Derek Carr? Are they wiped out of quarterbacks? You look at some of these quarterbacks, they're wiped out of Penix. There's been 5 in the first 15 picks. I don't think that they can just reach on a quarterback. To me, as much as they could probably use one, because I mean, obviously, crab leg Winston isn't one. Go for it on his. I mean, knee. You got Jameis Winston has so many different stories now. I mean, the guy's supposed to take a knee. He goes for it. I don't think that they could. I don't think they could do that, guys. I don't think they could go for um, a quarterback here because I mean it's kind of rich for a guy like JJ McCarthy. I mean, who's going to develop him? I think Dennis Allen is actually on borrowed time. Obviously, they were competitive, but like not quite competitive enough. And so to me, I'm just going to get him a tackle because there are some just outstanding tackles in this draft. So I gave him JC Latham. And we'll just call it a day for them. With the Colts, this one is interesting because I was gushing over Dallas Turner, but then my second highest edge rusher in this class is Latu. I think that he is a Jalen Phillips clone. And now they have CJ Stroud in their division. Now they have a good young quarterback in Anthony Richardson who did show some promise, but they have CJ Stroud in their division. They need to get after the quarterback. I think for them, it makes a lot of sense. Go ahead and get your pass rusher, man. As long as the medicals check. Listen, if the medicals checked out on Latu, he would be a top 10 pick. I think he's that good. He doesn't quite capture the edge like a Micah Parsons, but he's so good against the run, and he does rush with the plan. And that's just what I can say about him. I think that he does rush with a plan. I like this pick for them. Pick 16. This is just such a Seahawks pick. We don't know who is going to be the head coach out there in Seattle. Could be Jim Harbaugh. He may go back to Michigan. But if Jared Verse is sitting on the board, I say, my edges are okay. But I know in Seattle, I want to play defense. Now, I don't know if I want to live life with Geno Smith for the rest of, for the next 3 years. But at this point, you're wiped out of quarterbacks. And I just don't see a quarterback in the first round being good enough or somebody, at this point in the first round that I would say I want to replace Geno Smith with. I think between him and Drew Lock, you could do some run game and then play defense. Now, I just got through talking about Trevor Lawrence. I think that it'll be interesting to see how good Trevor Lawrence plays here in the next couple of years. Does he need more offensive help? I got to tell you, with the Jags is interesting because at times you see weapons, right? And then at times you like, man, this team needs something. ETN, they have pieces, but they still need something. The defense is kind of bad too, though. And so the fan base thing to do is to go receiver here. But for me, we're going to go Kool-Aid McKinstry. I just think that he can come in, play corner, lock down the side of the ball, and then that would be good. Now, this is interesting because I think that the Bengals know that they are going to lose T. Higgins. He's entering free agency, and he's going to get paid like a number one. And I think that Joe Burrow operates best when he has two good receivers. So why not just draft T. Higgins South and Brian Thomas Jr.? I don't think there's going to be a player that climbs the ranks higher than Brian Thomas Jr. I'm telling you that now. I just think that the guy is outstanding. I think that I just can't speak enough about how good this guy is. Listen, Malik Neighbors gets all of the credit. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but Brian Thomas Jr. really is just as good. Okay, you're talking about a Joe Burrow who wants to push the ball down the field. Now you're bringing in Thomas who could just be a two. He can just do his job. And I think that, listen, T. Higgins did his job, but I think that T. Higgins may have outgrown that role and may be a one on his next team. On T. Higgins' next team, he may be a one. So, to me, I just think that this would be a good spot for him. All right. We're going to give the Rams Mims. Let's keep the offensive train going. I think that Ladd McConkey would be a great spot in Pittsburgh. They need a quarterback, but there's no quarterback that you're going to get that's going to change life for you at pick 20. Get somebody to help George Pickens out. Find your quarterback, maybe in free agency. Bring in somebody to challenge Pickett. I mean, listen, I love what Mike Tomlin has done, but the truth of the matter is he did draft Kenny Pickett. Okay, he did. Now, this is very interesting because Lad McConkey, to most people's eyes, may not be better than Keon Coleman, but it's all about fit. Keon Coleman is what you would call a true one. He has to be used like a true number one. You can't use him unless you have the luxury to, and this next team does have the luxury to, but you can't use him like, a route running, get in space right now guy. Lad McConkey can, and that's why he went to Pittsburgh. You don't want to pair Keon Coleman with George Pickens. It won't work. Not in that offense. It's gonna certain coordinators will know how to use Keon Coleman. Mike McDaniel was one of those coordinators. Now, they do have other needs, but now with Tyreek Hill, Keon Coleman, Jalen Waddle, that's scary. Now, the Eagles pick has to be defense here. And I wrote something down. They need to literally draft every corner, every linebacker possible. Now, I like Terry Arnold, but I'm going to be honest with you. I have Kalen King a little bit higher than him, and I even like Quinion Mitchell. Now, he's a small school guy from Toledo, but he is so feisty. He is such a good corner. He tackles. He stays in phase. The only thing that Philly or whoever wants to draft him has to figure out is, can he handle the pressure, the lights? And I believe he's a Senior Bowl guy. I'm going to give them Mitchell, corner from Toledo. Moving right along, the Texans, who did achieve this year. Let's be honest. But did they really? Because they also drafted well last year. Okay? They drafted well last year. Petrie, great draft. Okay? Guys like Petrie, guys like Derek Stingley Jr., and then you put the cherry on top of the 2 picks that you had in the top 10 this year with Stroud and the DN from excuse me, and the DN from Alabama. So I think that, dare I say, the Texans have a luxury pick. Now, the pick should be linebacker here, because if there is a weakness on their team, I think it would be linebacker. So for me, I'm going to go Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and help stir up the middle of that defense. Now, let me come back to the chat and let's see what you guys may want. Now, as we look at, Keon Coleman can play. Definitely a baby Dez. As we look at the Cowboys pick, this will be our first pick. This is mock draft 1.0. Okay. Oh, you guys couldn't see the new simulator? Oh, that's right. You guys were looking at the old simulator. Hold on. My bad, y'all. Why didn't nobody tell me? That's right. I haven't been looking at the I botched this. Can everybody see the new simulator now? Cool. So now that everybody can see the new simulator, I want to make sure. Let me see. Can everybody see the new simulator? Give me thumbs up if we got the new simulator. Cool. Okay. We're good. Yes. Remember, guys, in doing this mock draft, this is just an exercise just to see where we're at. All right. Just to see what we may need. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Brandon. That's crazy. I was doing all that talking and giving my thoughts, and couldn't nobody see the simulator. I gotta let me know next time, baby. All right. Let's go through it. So we just watched our defense give up a bunch of points, really being down 40. What was it? It was 40-18 at one point. So that's just awful. I think that Jalen Ford is going to rise. Now, right now, I have Edgerrin Cooper over him, but I think that Jalen Ford is going to rise. I think that Tommy Eichenberg makes sense here because you do need a linebacker. However, I don't want to reach for a player. I don't want to reach for a position. And then you look at the offense side of the ball. I can make a strong case for the Cowboys drafting the O-lineman here and just saying, be fine. You got your next Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Tyler Smith. You got your next Tyler Smith, and you're fine. But I want to think differently. I want to think outside the box. I don't want to just do what everybody else is doing and how everybody else is thinking. There's a guy that I've been watching now. Adonai Mitchell makes a lot of sense. Xavier Leggett makes a lot of sense. But there's a guy, as the process goes on, as the combine goes on, I do believe that the Cowboys need a Robin in this offense. Brandon Cooks is not here he's not here long term. Jalen Tolbert was good, but I think that Jalen Tolbert's ceiling has kind of been hit as like a true 3. I don't ever see Jalen Tolbert becoming a bona fide 2. I just got finished telling you guys at the beginning of this video that we 100% are going to witness the best receiver class that we've seen probably in the last 10 years this year. Do you want to miss out on one of those guys to come in, be your number 2? Yes, you're going to pay CeeDee Lamb, but now you have everything you need on offense. You don't just have to run double slant. Now, obviously, the head coach needs to make it make sense, but we do need speed. We do need a guy, and like I said, I don't know what you guys are saying in the comments, but we do need a guy who can open it up, right? So there's a guy by the name of Troy Franklin, and don't throw tomatoes at me, but he goes to Oregon, and the Dallas Cowboys are going to draft him because I dare you guys to go watch his game versus Washington and tell me you are not impressed with this kid. He runs past the defense. He's 6'3". Yes, he's wiry. Go follow me on Twitter. Let me actually come and look at the comments so I could give you guys my tweeter. Go follow me on Twitter. This kid is an absolute stud. Now, he is a faster, taller Keenan Allen. The way he runs is very unorthodox, but he is so good. He is what Terrence Williams could never have been. Love Terrence Williams, but this guy can flat out run. So now you pair him with CeeDee Lamb with what you have in Jake Ferguson, and you go out and you play football and you say, now teams can't run these zones on us because he can get in zones. Like, that's the problem that I think the teams will end up having with a guy like Keon Coleman, is that as good as Keon Coleman is, he can only be used a certain way. If you play off of Franklin and you don't get hands on him, he is going to run by you. Somebody put the smoke emoji in the chat for speed. He is going to run by you, and he will run by you fast. And again, he's a bigger target. You can feel that 6'3". The guy can flat out do it. So the Cowboys are going to draft Troy Franklin. Again, this is mock draft literally 1.0. Mock draft 1.0. Moving right along, I think that Green Bay is actually like a young team that's making noise and could do some nice things. And I think that them getting a guy like Terry and Arnold, well, we know what Green Bay just did us. Getting a corner, they don't really have lockdown corners. Jair Alexander obviously locked us down, and I think that was more play calling than anything else. But I also do believe that they could stand to get somebody else. Jair Alexander does have a lot of injury history, so I just think that this makes a lot of sense for them. Tampa Bay, those guys love D tackles. I think that Newton makes a lot of sense. They call him John Newton. John Newton, man, he could go out there. He could just wreck things next to Vita Vea, let him get up the field. And they already took Kalijah Kancey, so we don't know if Vita Vea plans on retiring soon. But if he did, now you have 2 quick D tackles that can get upfield, that can 2-gap, because he does have the 2-gapping ability. I think it makes a lot of sense there. Arizona with their second pick, they went offense early. They get Chop Robinson. They get somebody off the edge to help that defense. We already know everybody. And guys, let me say this. While the low-hanging fruit may say that Kansas City goes receivers with the struggles that they've had, they could very well go Javion Sanders, a guy who I know a lot of you guys may have watched at Texas, and that could be Travis Kelce's replacement. And you know what? For the hell of it, I think that I'm going to do that. I had another pick here written down, but their defense is already so locked in. They have a luxury picking this late in the draft, and I think that that's what they're going to do. And then you look at the Bills. The Bills, I believe, will end up moving on from Stephon Diggs in the next 2 years. Why not get a guy who plays just like him? Actually, Mitchell's probably a little bit better because he's a bigger body. Get a Donnie Mitchell, somebody who can grow with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to be there, but the troubles between Diggs and the troubles between Diggs and Josh Allen are real. And I think that whenever there's a loss, some of that stuff is going to spark up. And I just believe that in that, I think that I think that the Bills can end up going Mitchell. I think that they would kill that pick. Here we come off the board, and now we start kind of reaching just a hair because I don't have Kamari Lassiter in the first round, but the Lions do need help at corner. So this makes a lot of sense. And anything on the back end for the Lions, although I will say this, Brian Branch has had a really good year. You guys saw kind of what he was able to do against the Cowboys and taking away Jake Ferguson. I think that he did a really good job of that. And then to wrap it all up, one of my favorite players in the draft does go to San Francisco and Tyler Nubin. So, guys, just going over my picks, and we got kicked out of our first simulator because I messed it up. Actually, no, let me not leave this site because I don't want to mess anything up. Let's go here. Caleb Williams to the Bears. Drake May is a Commander. Jaden Daniels is a New England Patriot. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Cardinal. Malik Neighbors to the Chargers. That's one of my favorite picks. I know they went Quentin Johnston last year, but go back to the well because he was a disappointment. Fashanu helped hold up that left side, protect Daniel Jones' blind side. Joe Walt to the Titans. Cooper DeJean to the Falcons. They could also be in the market for a quarterback, but I just don't know. Like, do you want to draft a quarterback with a 70-year-old head coach? No, you're in win now mode. Get somebody who helps you right now. Brock Bowers to the Bears. Roma Dunze to the Jets. I think that makes a lot of sense. Him, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson. Come on now. Bo Nix to the Vikings. Michael Penix Jr. to Denver. Dallas Turner to the Oakland Raiders. J.C. Latham to the Saints, the Colts, so on and so forth. One of my favorite picks, obviously, as we're moving right along. Keon Coleman to Miami. I just think that could be a fun receiving core. I skipped a couple. Let's go Dallas to Troy. Troy Franklin to the Cowboys. I love that pick. With Troy Franklin, to me, you guys are going to be impressed once you really go get eyes on him. I'm telling you, you guys are going to be impressed. John Newton to the Bucks, two gap and fast D tackles. You kind of got wiped out Bucks on some of your needs. They could have went receiver too. Mike Evans is getting a little long in the tooth, although Mike Evans can still play. That passing game obviously tore Philly up, but who didn't tear Philly up? And then one of my favorite picks of the draft, Tyler Nubin to the San Francisco 49ers. Guys, as always, this is just a beginning, a starting point. And so I just wanted you guys to kind of get an idea of where I may go, where teams may go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this draft, man. It's just a starting point. I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to tag all the teams in the NFL. So we'll probably get other teams from all over the league in the channel just popping they pop. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's your boy Foots as always. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Peace.